Joan of Arc, the heroine who led France to victory? What if I told you that a teenage girl, with no military training, led an army and changed the course of history? This is the incredible story of Joan of Arc, a young woman who became a national hero of France. But how did she do it? And why did her journey end in tragedy? Let's find out.
The story of Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc was born in 1412 in France, a small village surrounded by war. At that time, France and England were engaged in a conflict known as the 100 Years' War. The French were struggling, losing battles, and their future looked uncertain. Joan grew up in a simple peasant family, never learning to read or write, but from a young age, she claimed to hear divine voices from saints, such as Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These voices gave her a mission, to save France and help the rightful king reclaim his throne. By the time she was 16 years old, Joan was convinced that she had been chosen by God to help France. However, convincing others was not easy. She traveled to the town of Vaucouleurs, where she met Robert de Baudricourt, a local commander. At first, he did not believe her, but after hearing about her unwavering determination, he agreed to send her to Chinon, where the French prince, Dauphin Charles VII, was staying. Upon arriving at court, Charles was skeptical. To test Joan, he disguised himself among his courtiers, but she immediately recognized him. This convinced many that she was indeed sent by divine forces. After much hesitation, Charles agreed to give her a small army and allowed her to accompany his troops to Orléans, a city under siege by the English. On May 7, 1429, under her leadership, the French army achieved a miraculous victory at the Battle of Orléans. Joan continued to lead more successful campaigns, allowing Charles VII to be officially crowned King of France in Reims Cathedral on July 17, 1429. However, Joan's growing influence and popularity also made her many enemies. Some French nobles distrusted her, and the English saw her as a dangerous enemy. In May 1430, during a battle she was captured by the Burgundians, allies of the English. They handed her over to the English, who put her on trial for heresy and witchcraft. Joan was imprisoned for months and subjected to harsh treatment. The English, along with corrupt members of the church, were determined to condemn her. Despite her strong faith and repeated attempts to defend herself, she was found guilty and sentenced to death on May 30, 1431, at the young age of 19. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in the city of Rouen. Her last words were reported to be, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus." Years later, in 1456, her case was re-examined, and she was declared innocent. In 1920, the Catholic Church canonized her, making her Saint Joan of Arc. Today, she is remembered as a symbol of courage, faith, and determination. Her legacy continues to inspire people around the world.
Before we conclude, let's take a moment to reinforce the key words and expressions from this story. Understanding these terms will help you expand your vocabulary and improve your comprehension. Listen carefully and try to remember how they were used in context.
Heroine, a female hero. The 100 Years' War, a long conflict between England and France. Divine, related to God or heaven. Mission, a special task or goal. Prince Dauphin, the son of a king and heir to the throne. Armor, a metal suit worn for protection in battle. Banner, a large flag used in war.
Final thoughts and moral of the story.
Joan of Arc's story is one of courage, faith, and determination. She believed in her mission and never gave up, even when the world was against her. She showed that one person, no matter how young or inexperienced, can make a difference. Her bravery and unwavering faith continue to inspire people today. Her story teaches us that even in the face of adversity, we must stand by our beliefs and fight for what we know is right. Her name remains a symbol of strength and national pride in France, and she is honored every year on May 30th, the anniversary of her death.
Don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow the podcast so you never miss a new story. Share this episode with a friend who loves history and leave us a comment with your thoughts. Who should we talk about next? See you in the next episode of Learn English Through Stories.